Let's take a little look at 2024. Terrifying. Hello and welcome to my channel, The Danish Readaholic. My name is Silke and today we will be looking at some 2024 releases that I'm really excited for. I do have a bunch of books to get through, so I think we should just get started. I am going to be reading the blurb of the books, or like the summary or whatever you call it, and then I'm going to be talking a little bit about why I find it interesting, so I hope you'll like this format. Normally, I don't even know what I do normally, but this time we're doing it this way. First up, we have A Drop of Venom by Sajni Patel, which, just by the looks of it, it looks amazing. 16-year-old Manisha is no stranger to monsters. She's been running from them for years, from beasts who roam the jungle to the king's army who forced her people, the Naga, to scatter to the ends of the earth. You might think that the kingdom's famed holy temples atop the floating mountains, where Manisha is now a priestess, would be safe, but you would be wrong. 17-year-old Prechus is a famed slayer of monsters, one of the king's most prized warriors and frequent visitor to the floating temples. For every monster the slayer kills, years are added to his life. You might think such a powerful warrior could do whatever he wants, but true power lies with the king. Tired after years of fighting, Prechus wants nothing more than a peaceful, respectable life. When Prechus and Manisha meet, each sees in the other the possibility to chart a new path. Unfortunately, the kingdom's powerful have other plans. A temple visitor sexually assaults Manisha and pushes her off the mountain into a pit of vipers. A month later, the king sends Prechus off to kill one last monster, a powerful Nagin who has been turning men to stone, before he'll consider granting his freedom. Except Manisha doesn't die, despite the hundreds of snake bites covering her body and the venom running through her veins. She rises from the pit more powerful than ever, with heightened senses, armor-like skin, and blood that can turn people to stone. And Prechus doesn't know it, but the monster he has been sent to kill is none other than the girl he wants to marry. It's a dual perspective, Indian-inspired retelling of Medusa. Do I even need to explain? Like, it just sounds so great, and it's like an origin story to Medusa, but then there's also the whole enemies to lovers, but he doesn't know that the enemy, the monster that he's sent to kill, is actually the girl that he loves. So I just find it so interesting. And it's definitely one of the highest ones on my list, like the ones that I'm most excited for. But I also just really love the whole idea of Medusa. So, the next one we have is So Let Them Burn by Camilla Cole. I love the cover of this. I'm not the biggest fan of the font, but the way that it's done, like, it's just a font kind of slapped on there. I do like it because they didn't try to fit it into a place where it wouldn't disturb the artwork all that much. It's just on the top of it, and I like that. So even though I find the font a little bit basic, I do kind of like it. Farron Vincent can channel the power of the gods. 5 years ago, she used her divine magic to liberate her island from its enemies, the dragon-riding Langley Empire. But now, at 17, Farron is all powered up with no wars to fight. She's a legend to her people and a nuisance to her neighbors. When she's forced to attend an international peace summit, Farron expects that she will perform tricks like a trained pet and then go home. She doesn't expect her older sister, Elara, forming an unprecedented bond with an enemy dragon, or the gods claiming the only way to break that bond is to kill her sister. As Farron's desperation to find another solution to take her down a dark path, and Elara discovers the shocking secrets of the heart of the Langley Empire, both must make difficult choices that will shape each other's lives, as well as the fate of their world. I've said before that I like the whole sister dynamic, and this does seem like it will have a great sister dynamic. It reminds me a little bit of, like, Ice Wolves, but also, oh my god, what was it called? Oh, there it is. Fire with Fire. I feel like they have, like, similar vibes, and the whole, like, where I say Ice Wolves, it's with the whole sister, well, in that one, it's a brother and sister, but one is, like, chosen, or is revealed to have something to do with the enemy, and I feel like this is a similar situation where the sisters are on opposing sides, and they still want to save each other and fight for each other, but they just don't know how to do that without going against everything that they kind of stand for, you know? I feel like it sounds really interesting and I'm super excited for it. And dragons. We like dragons. Next up, we have To Gaze Upon Wicked Gods, which to me sounds like a little bit similar, but that's because both of them started out with having this premise like, will she sacrifice da 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 to save her world or to save her people? And this, like, the one before started out like that. This one starts out the same way. It just says, like, in this magical epic fantasy, a young woman cursed with the power of death must decide if saving her family is worth betraying her country. The other one was, like, saving her sister is worth betraying her people or something like that. So I feel like they have similar vibes despite not being about the same things. So in this one, heroes die, cowards live. Daughter of a conquered world, Ryang hates the invaders who descended from the heathens long before she was born and defeated the magic of her people with technologies unlike anything her world had ever seen. Blessed by death, born with the ability to pull the life right out of immortal bodies, Ryang shouldn't have to fear these foreign invaders, but she does, especially because she wants to keep herself and her family safe. When Ryang's gift is discovered by an enemy prince, he offers her an impossible deal. If she becomes his private assassin and eliminates his political rivals, whose death he swears would be for the good of both their worlds and would protect her people from further brutalization, her family will never starve or suffer harm again. But to accept this bargain, she must use the powers she has always feared, powers that will shave years off her own existence. Can Ryang trust this prince whose promises of a better world makes her heart ache, and whose smiles make her pulse beat faster? Are the evils of this agreement really in the service of a much greater good, or will she betray her entire nation by protecting those she loved the most? I'm super excited about this because I like the whole being conflicted about your own abilities. However, what most of you know by now is that I would really like to see a story with a main character who has powers that she is not afraid of. She just goes with it. I can kill people by touching them. Great, I'll do it. Despite that, I'm still super excited about this book. It seems really cool. It does seem like a premise that we've heard before, but it's also a premise that I really enjoy, so I don't mind it being done again as long as it's done well. Next up, we have The Girl with No Reflection by Keshi Chow. Princess Yingyu believed in love once upon a time. Yet, when she's chosen to wed the crown prince, Ying's dreams of a fairy tale marriage quickly falls apart. Her husband-to-be is cold and indifferent, confining Ying to her room for reasons he won't explain. Worse still are the rumors that swirl around the imperial whispers of 7 other royal brides who, after their own wedding, mysteriously disappeared. Left alone with only her own reflection for company, Ying begins to see things, strange things, movements in the corner of her mirror, colorful lights upon its surface, and when, on the eve of her wedding, she unwittingly tears open a gateway, she is pulled into a mirror world. This realm is full of sentient reflections, including the enigmatic Mirror Prince. Unlike his real-world counterpart, the Mirror Prince is kind and compassionate, and before long, Ying falls in love. The kind of love she always dreamed of. But there's darkness in this world, too. It turns out the two worlds have a long and blood-soaked history, and Ying has a part to play in the future of them. And the brides who came before Ying, by the time they discovered what their role was, it was already too late. This, to me, sounds like a fantasy young adult version of Coraline. Because you discover this alternate reality that is similar to your own, but everything is kind of switched. So where in the real world, this prince would be cruel and cold, in the other world, or in the mirror world, as it's called in this one, he is kind and he's compassionate and he's loving. So you see where I'm going with that? And also, I like the whole idea of, like, not a classic fairy tale, but the whole, I have to marry this prince and I don't want to marry this prince. And then I'm sure that she'll figure out that he's maybe not that bad or something. But I'm excited to see where it goes because, in my opinion, it could go a million different ways. But I like the whole, I want to call it the Coraline aspect of it because it gives me Coraline vibes, and that is why it's on the list. Next up, we have Off With Their Heads by Zoe Hana Mikuta. In a world where saints are monsters and Wonderland is the dark forest where they lurk, it's been 5 years since young witches and lovers Cara Rabbit and Isadora Alice Sickle were both sentenced to that forest for a crime they didn't commit, and 4 years since they shattered one another's heart. each willing to sacrifice the other for a chance at freedom. Now Caro is a successful saint harvester, living the high life in the glittering capital and pretending not to know of the twisted monster experiments that her beloved Red Queen hides deep in the bowels of the palace. But for Ika, the memory of Caro's betrayal has hardened her from timid girl to ruthless hunter. A hunter who will stop at nothing to exact her on Caro, on the Queen, on the throne itself. But there are secrets about the saints the Queen's been guarding, and a volatile magic at play, even more dangerous to Ika and Caro than they are to each other. This seems cool. This seems so cool and so unique. It doesn't seem like anything that I've kind of seen before. It's like a spin on Alice in Wonderland, as from what I'm gathering. And it's Korean inspired as well. And it just seems so cool and so interesting. I have no further words for it. Also, the fact that they start out as lovers. Like, I like the whole enemies. No. Lovers to enemies to lovers. That's good. That's amazing. And these sound like they're straight on enemies because one of them actually wants to inflict pain on the other. So, if that's not an enemy, I don't know what is. Now we have something that might be a little bit different. We have The Hedge Witch of Foxhall by Anna Bright. Vivian is the last hedge witch in Foxhall. To work her magic, she takes only what nature can spare, unlike the witches of the powerful Foxhall Coven, who sacrifice whole forests to fuel their spells. But across the warring kingdoms of Wales, all magic is fading. Even the dragons have vanished. Prince Taliesin would love nothing more than to watch magic die. But when his father charges Tal and his brothers Defud with destroying King Offa's Dyke, the massive earthen wall raised by the Mercian enemies to the east, which may be the cause of magic's disappearance, he begrudgingly seeks aid from a witch, because whichever prince succeeds in destroying the Dyke will win the throne, and Tal is willing to do whatever it takes to become king, even if the Foxhall Coven refuses to help him, even if he's forced to team up with a Spitfire hedge witch who hates him almost as much as he hates her magic, and even if the Fid proves to be a worthier rival than he anticipated for the crown and for Vivian's heart. I love that it takes place in Wales. That's so cool, and I'm expecting like real like folklore-ish vibes, which is also what I'm getting from this. Also, it's rare that I read like actual witch books. Like, there's usually a magic in most of the books that I read, but I feel like when it's like witch specific, it's more like potions and stuff, which is also what I'm getting from this. And I also like, once again, that it's an enemies to lovers, or at least like a rivals to lovers, and there's an aspect about each other that they don't like, or, well, that they actually specifically hate. I really love that, and I find it so intriguing. And also just the cover and the vibes that I get from the cover is just too much. I'm so excited for this. Next up, we have The Last Blood Carver by Vanessa Lee. Nika is a blood carver, a cold-hearted, ruthless being who can alter human biology with just a touch. In the industrial city of Tumas, she is seen not as a healer, but a monster that kills for pleasure. When Nika is caught using her blood-carving abilities during a sham medical appointment, she's captured by underground thugs and sold to an aristocratic family to heal the last witness of their father's murder. But as Nika delves deeper into the investigation amidst the glitz of Tuma's wealthiest district, she begins to notice parallels between this job and her own dark past. And when she meets an alluring yet entitled physician's aide, Ven Kochen, she is forced to question the true intent behind the murder. In a society that outcasts her, Kochen seems drawn to her, though he takes every chance he gets to push her out of his opulent world. When Nika discovers that Kochen is not who he claims to be, and that there is an evil dwelling in humans that runs much deeper than the murder of one man, she must decide where her heart and her allegiance truly lie, and if she's willing to become the dreaded blood-carver Tumas fears to save herself and the one she vowed to protect. This seems cool. And it gives me a little bit of a similar vibe to These Violent Delights. It actually also says in the blurb that this is for fans of These Violent Delights, so it makes sense. But it seems like, yes, there is a magic in place, but it's not a magical world, if you know what I mean. It's more so a normal world with a few beings that has some kind of magical ability, and then they use it for similar things, or normal things, like in this case, helping in an investigation of somebody's murder. It says it's a medical magic system in a lush Vietnam-inspired fantasy world. And that just sounds freaking awesome. For the next one, we actually don't have all that much of information. It's called Fateless. It's by Julie Kagawa. I have still not read the Iron Fae, or the whatever the series is called, but it's on like a list of books that I really want to get to in 2024. I know it was also on the list for 2023, but we don't talk about that anymore, okay? Okay. But this also sounds really cool from the few like informations that we do have, so I'm just going to read that to you, even though it's actually not a blurb. It's going to be a trilogy, by the way. This YA fantasy adventure follows a Thieves Guild member and her comrades as they fight to save their city and the entire desert empire from the Deathless King. In the author's words, Fateless is the story of Sparrow, a savvy thief, as her and her comrades try to save the desert world from the wrath of the Deathless King. Think Assassin's Creed meets Prince of Persia. Anything like desert world-ish, I am here for it. I freaking love that, and that is why I put this down, because it sounds really cool. And also the whole Assassin's Creed meets Prince of Persia vibes. Love it. Love it. Next up we have Compass and Blade by Rachel Greenlaw. This world of sea and storm runs deep, with bargains and blood. On a remote isle of Rosevere, Mira, like her mother before her, is a wrecker. One of the 7 on the rope who swim out to shipwrecks to plunder them. Mira's job is to rescue survivors, if there are any. After all, she never feels the cold of the frigid ocean waters, and the waves seem to sing her to her soul. But the people of Rosevere never admit the truth, that they set the beacons themselves to lure ships into the rocks. When the Council Watch lays trap to put an end to the wrecking, they arrest Mira's father. Desperate to save him from the noose, Mira strikes a deal with an enigmatic wreck survivor guarding layers of secrets behind his captivating eyes, and set off to find something her mother has left her, a family secret buried deep in the sea. With just 9 days to find what she needs to rescue her father, all Mira knows for certain is this: the sea gives, the sea takes, and it's up to her to do what she must to save the one she loves. I always love a little bit of a siren story. It also said that this one is perfect for fans of Fable and To Kill a Kingdom, and I am a fan of both. So that is actually the main reason why I'm giving this a chance, because, well, not a chance, but putting this on the list. It does sound really cool, and it does sound like Mira is badass bitch, and once again that we will be getting the enemies to lovers trope, which you can probably see in most of the books on this list. The reason that it was put like as a good book for those 2 books, like if you're a fan of those 2 books, was the reason that I put it on here. The last book I have on my list is Roswell Johnson Saves the World by Chris Colfer. When he announced that he was doing another series, well, I'm guessing it's gonna be a series, but when he announced that he was doing another book, I think I cried a little bit. I love him so much, and all the books that he's written so far. Granted, I have not finished Tale of Magic yet. We're getting there. But honestly, all of his books, chef's kiss. So I'm so excited to see him like do something different, because yes, he has 2 series out already, like Land of Stories and Tales of Magic, but they take place in the same world. This seems to be in an entirely new world, an entirely new cast with new characters that we have never met before, and I'm really excited for it. 11-year-old Roswell Johnson is obsessed with conspiracies about extraterrestrial life, an interest he inherited from his late father, who aptly named Roswell after the infamous UFO crash in Roswell, New Mexico. When Roswell is accidentally abducted by aliens, his biggest dream comes true. He learns that aliens are real, but when he discovers Earth is in grave danger, he must join forces with a team of quirky extraterrestrials, including 2 bickering greys, a humanized cyborg, a germophobic mantis, an overly confident Frigerian, and an overachieving Pleiadian, to save his planet from a tyrannical invasion. But can Roswell restore his own faith in humanity and Earth in time to save the world? Sounds so cool. It says that it's Guardian of the Galaxy meets Land of Stories. Say less. I am here for it. I am so here for it. So that was all the books. Well, that was the books that I've decided to talk about in this video. There's probably gonna be more books that I'm super excited for. I already have a couple that I need to look a little bit more into, so I didn't want to put them on this list for that reason, that I don't know much about them. I'm excited for 2024. Thank you so much for watching. Please leave a comment telling me which book. Just mention one. Give me 3. If you have 3, give me 3 books that will be released in 2024 that you're super excited for. You know what? Just knock yourself out. Give me as many books you want. If you just want to let me know that you're here but don't know what to comment, you can always leave a green heart. If you like this video, please hit the like icon. And if you want to see more of my bookish content, please consider hitting that subscribe button. It would mean the world to me. And until I see you next time. Bye!